Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online beauty visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, today's video, I would like to explain about the topic in regards to the work experiences. Now, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? If you like to understand in the plain English. However, the definition within the immigration law sometimes differ, even if it's in the same regulation but different category of visa. So a lot of people got confused whether their work experiences will actually count towards for example, the general skill migration, or can this be used actually for equivalent to be used for the employment sponsored visa? Because the definition for the work experiences between these two categories of visa is totally different. So if you got one, it doesn't mean you get another one. So let's get into it, because a lot of people just got confused on this one. Now, let's begin with the first one that a lot of people want to know in regards to the general skill migration. So I'm jumping straight into the points table. Bear in mind, in 2025, which is going to be a few days to go, there may be a new points test table and new definition perhaps on the work experiences again. So let's just go in there and have a look what that is. So you can actually find this page if you want to search from the immigration website, points table for 189 or perhaps 190. It's all the same, because we got to jump into the skill employment experiences there. So once we click on there, and you will see, a lot of people don't pay detailed attention, but look, it's not your fault. I think it's just the immigration is not delivering the information as clear as they can. They always put things in a little tiny words, and usually on the bottom. Let's have a look. It says if you have overseas skill employment, it says if it's got to be less than 3 years, 0 points. If you got 3 years but less than 5 years, you got 5 points. And so was in the if you got work experiences in Australia, if you got less than 1 year, 0 points, but 1 year but less than 3 years, 5 points. Now, question here is, now, what sort of experiences do they count? Part-time? Yeah, I have casual, part-time, 1 year or 2 year experiences. Will that count? Or do that have to be full-time? And what's the definition of full-time, right? Or part-time? Now, first of all, we need to understand the definition of full-time. I think it's under the Fair Work related law. It will be around 30, I think between 35 to 40, depends category of your occupations, but roughly 38, so that's in between. 38 will be counted as a full-time. Anything less than that will be counted as part-time. Casual, sometimes you work more than 38 hours, but sometimes you work less than 38 hours. So it's a different arrangement. However, by means for the Australians migration regulation, the definition, the requirement is they counted by hours. You really need to carefully read the detail here. So I wanted to draw your attention down here. You see, this says, let me read that out. Let's pull that out there. It says employ means engage in an occupation for the remuneration for at least 20 hours a week. Now, that's what immigration for subclass 189, subclass 190 wants. That is their criteria. Now, I also want you to pay attention that different states have different definitions. Now, I noticed for some states, I can't remember because they change all the time. They will say you need to prove that you have at least 30 hours a week, and some comes with 20 something hours a week, or 18 hours or 15 hours a week or something like that. It's just really awkward. So you really need to pay attention how many hours per week that actually counts towards the criteria that you want to apply for. That is where the problem is. A lot of people got really confused when they apply for 189 and when they apply for 190. 190 will have the same definition under the federal immigration regulations for 20 hours a week, but for states, sometimes they want something different. For example, the state of Queensland, they will want you need to have at least 25 hours per week. You need to prove that, and then the state will nominate you, and then you obviously, if you got 25 hours, then you passed the 20 hours per week's mark. So it's just really complicated. Now, the other one I also wanted to draw your attention is when we go to employment sponsor visa, that's the so-called skills in demand visa, SID, S-I-D, subclass 482. Now, again, they require you to have a post-qualification work experiences, but how do they define? It's different again. So if we go to, I've already clicked on the eligibility. So if we scroll down where it says, you see, if you read the title, you couldn't differentiate the differences. It says have worked in a nominated occupation or a related field for at least 1 year. So you only need to have 1 year work experience. So if you read the title, and again you go to here and you read the title, you wouldn't skill employment experience. You would not be able to differentiate the actual differences. So 1 year, now full-time, part-time, or casual. Let's have read in the detail here. You must have at least 1 year relevant work experience in nominated occupation related fields. Such work must be completed while working in nominated occupation. So what does that mean? That means if you're a chef, you work as a chef. If you're a ICT cybersecurity expert, you work as a cybersecurity guy. You don't be a occupation of a cybersecurity expert and work as a chef. That won't work. Okay. And then it says here, you should have gained experiences on a full-time, part-time, or casual basis. So you can be working in these three type of different situation of your employment arrangements within the last 5 years. Work carried out on a part-time or casual basis must be equivalent to at least 12-month full-time work. What does that mean? Let's continue to read on. The period of work does not need to be continuous, okay? And that it will also have something talked about in the full-time work experiences here. So if you read this carefully, it says 12-month full-time work. So that means that even if you carry out your employment arrangement is part-time or casual, okay, the hours accrued together require to be a full-time hours. So that means if you have part-time and that's half, let's say scenario that your weekly work hour is roughly about half of the full-time. So full-time is 38 and half of that it will be 19 hours. All right, so then you will have 2 years of part-time. That will equivalent to 1 year of full-time. So the definition for employment sponsor visa 482 visa, the work experience required needs to be full-time. Now, if you only got skill points, a lot of people go into skill assessment, say, oh, I got my skill assessment. See, the vet assess has defined my work experience as 3 years or 1 year. But if that skill assessment is solely to be done for the point test systems, then they will only count 20 hours per week in order to actually award you the actual points. Now, if you only work 20 hours a week for a full year, can you actually be sponsored under 482 visa if that is a scenario? Now, the answer is no, because 20 hours is only counted as part-time under the actual Fair Work, regulations. Now, if you want to be sponsored under 482 visa, that's the skills in demand visa, then you need to have a 1 year, 12 month of full-time hours of work in order to actually be sponsored. So you see, this is where the complication and that's where all the confusion starts. So again, just to summarize that for general skill migration, the work experiences now for the current point test system is above 20 hours per week, then that will count towards the points. But for employment sponsor, it has to be full-time. It has to count as 38 hours per week as a full-time in order to actually meet the criteria to be sponsored. So different visa, different experiences, criteria, it's all different. And plus, I'm not too sure if they're gonna streamline the whole state criteria, state nomination criteria, because every state requires differently. Anyway, should you have a question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.